Amazing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ramesh's webinar hosted by the Maintenance Community by Upkeep. We're so glad to have everybody here. We do have a couple minutes before we are going to get started, but we just wanted to open it up a little bit earlier so that you all can chat amongst each other, also introduce yourself to Ramesh. On the right side of your screen, you should be able to see a chat box. Feel free to drop your name, where you're based, and also maybe your role in your company or your organization, or what role you aspire to be in. And so, yeah, we'd love to get to meet you in these first couple minutes before we get started.
Wayne. Oh,
Awesome. We have Wayne. He said, hello, Ramesh from Nissan. Awesome.
I'm going
Osama.
to send him a message. I was talking to him a few minutes ago. Is this same Wayne?
We have Osama here as well. That's awesome. All right, just a few more minutes before we get started. But
Sure.
again, if you just entered into the event, please feel free to just introduce yourself in the
Sure.
chat. Yeah, we have a few people kind of responding through that. And say hello to Ramesh, our awesome presenter for today. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Brian says hello from American Eagle Outfitters. I used to shop there a lot when I was a kid. I love that store.
I still do sometime.
They have some great clothes. Awesome. We have Curtis, Martins, Christian,
From
all saying
Nambia.
hello. Wow,
Walter
we have
from
a diverse
Nambia.
group. Yeah, very
Yeah.
diverse group here. Awesome. Just one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started.
And he's another my friend Simon from Netherlands. Ravi. Amir Hussain from Egypt. Martin Ocon. Brian O'Connell. Curtis.
Awesome. We have Caitlin from Canada.
Kathleen O'Gorman. Oh, great. Yeah,
Awesome.
Ravi, Kathleen are there from Canada section.
Mhm. Awesome. Well, feel free to continue to introduce yourselves in the chat, but let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, again. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Chelsea, and I am a community admin in the Maintenance Community Slack group. It's currently 1:02 p.m., so let's go ahead and get started. I want to let you know that we are recording this webinar, so for everyone who registered for this event, whether you are attending live or you will be watching this later, you'll receive a full recording of this webinar in your email later today. Hopefully you've heard about this webinar from our Slack group, the maintenance community. And if not, we also will be sending you an invitation to join us. And so we host a ton of events like this one. We share a lot of resources and offer a lot of free opportunities to engage and discuss with thousands of people in the maintenance and reliability industry. And so if you aren't a part of this group already, we hope to see you there very, very soon. Also, I do want to let you know that at the very end of the webinar, we will be hosting a Q&A session. So to submit any questions that you might have, just simply enter them in the chat box, and Ramesh will try to go over as many questions as he can at the very end of his presentation. So with all of that, I would love to hand it over to Ramesh Gulati to begin his presentation. Take it away, Ramesh.
Thank you, Chelsea. I appreciate, ma'am. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I'm really blessed with the people you are on. Some people from my backyard here, Smyrna and uh, Deckard, and then a lot of people from Canada, Egypt, Ca- Netherlands, all over the world. Morocco, look at that. I was there one time doing training in Jessa over there. Okay, that's great. All right, let's go. Let's because I got a lot to cover. This is my talk outline of talk introduction. I'm going to talk a little bit about safety. Really, what I'm trying to show you that safety, reliability, and productivity go hand in hand, and that's my focus. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit of terminology so we are on the same page. We'll talk about asset lifecycle phases and key practices. Specifically, I'm going to talk about 10 rights of asset management and examples of best practices, all these life cycle phases during life cycle phases of asset. Then a little bit about benefits of these practices, how these practices, if applied, can increase your productivity, reliability, and safety. And some lesson learned and some takeaway. And we'll have some time, hopefully, for question and answer. Safety. What are the top two safety cited violation for 2020 by OSHA? OSHA is in the US, is which tracks the safety incident in a company. So think about your company. What are the you think the top two? And here are the choices I'm going to give you. I'm going to help you a little bit. So let's see. Oh, so ladders and lockout, tagout, and scaffolding, fall protection, hazard communication, PPE, and fall protection. What you think the top two? What combine? Select A, B, C, D. Usually, I don't give choices. I give you choices. Think what would be okay. And I don't know how many of you. I see C, C, D, B. The right answer is C. Okay. Fall protection and hazard communication. Those two things have been on top to last 2 years. Fall protection, hazard communication. In fact, these are the top 20, top 10 and first three. And let me compare, first three is kind of let me get my here laser pointer. These three top, your fall protection, hazard communication, and respiratory protection, and then scaffolding and ladders comes. Okay. These are last 2 years I compare, 2020 and 2019. Top two have not changed. They're same. I hope you know fall protection. We have to, when somebody's up in the air, we have to give them some kind of fall protection. Hazard communication, when we use any chemicals, we have to read behind those chemical bottles. There's some instruction how to take care of that, and we do not communicate that. People don't read those instruction how to safely use those chemicals. So that's about, again, the reason I'm showing you later on, I'll show you a little bit more that safety is very, very important. Safety and reliability go hand in hand. As I said, safe plant is a reliable plant is a safe plant. I don't know how many of you read about Ron Moore. He's a reliability guru, has written several books, Common Sense, Common Practice. And my own experience working in the industry for over 55 years, I understand reliability and safety go hand in hand. And his data, and I'll share you data later on, also my data too, that overall equipment effectiveness goes up, injury rate goes down. Planned work goes up, injury rate goes down. Reactive work goes up, injury rate goes up. So there is direct correlation. So reliability, maintenance, safety, productivity, all are interrelated. As you become reliable, you become safer, downtime goes down, you become a profitable plant or factory. The presentation, most of the material came from Maintenance Reliability Best Practices, third edition, also the Rise of Asset Management from these two books, a little bit of this dictionary. People, you know, they have term Sherpa. You know what Sherpa means? Sherpa is a person who helps to get people to go up in the mountains. You cannot get to Mount Everest, something like that, without getting help of a Sherpa. Sherpa tell them what to do in this situation or try to help them to get to the peak. Well, how about Reliable Sherpa? They have given me a title Reliable Sherpa because I've been helping people and now in getting in reliability peak. I got few awards here or there. In fact, earlier last week, I was this one here in a, this is in Peru, is a Southern America Sherpa language, and they featured me in the front cover that looking for continuous improvement kind of thing they talked about it. I've been around, as I said, over 55, 57 years now, retired, but still trying to keep engaged. I love it to share my knowledge, and that's why I've written a few books. So that's about me. Now let's talk about this today's talk. First, I want to share with you organization expectations. Every organization exists. They have a mission, they have vision, they have core values. Then we have a stakeholder, stockholders. A stakeholders, they build some product. That product is sold, the money comes back, and it takes goes around. Everything is great. Now, however, we have to sell those products or services. We have to delight our customer so that they keep coming back. It's not one-time deal, okay? So they keep coming back. We have to delight our customer. Delighting customer requires extra work from our side to make sure that our product or services are delivered on time at affordable cost, reasonable cost. Then things go great. Now, to do that, asset comes to the picture. Asset, which most of them, we have physical assets and other type of human asset, other kind of asset. So we have a people, human asset, workforce, utilities, and material. Get input to our asset, and here comes the output, which we deliver services, products, or services, whatever, to we deliver to our customer, our client, make them happy, and is happy ending. Now, if our equipment are not working, are not reliable, not available when we need them, how we can make our customer happy. Reliable assets are the key in delivering value to our customers. That's the bottom line. We have come a long way. Back in 30s and 40s, only thing we knew was fixing when something breaks. Then 50, 60, 70 came preventive maintenance, scheduled repairs. We had a CMMS system to help us to do the job, our work, do the job more effectively. Then we started talking about reliability in the 80s and 90s, and 2000 started talking about, I mean, RCM came in the late 60s, early 70s from Boeing 777 program, but really didn't come to industry to use our equipment till late 80s and 90s. And still we are struggling to implement RCM effectively? Well, last few years, we have been working on designing for reliability, learn. I'm going to talk a lot more about RAMS, which is RAM square O, reliability, availability, maintainability, safety, sustainability, operability. That should be our focus when we're designing. Culture of reliability, asset and data management. Now we are talking IoT, Industry 4.0, those kind of things. So really, we have come long way. In fact, so now we're going to do some of those things. So now let me just give you a basic understanding of some terms. So we are talking same language. Asset, something with a potential actual value to organization, has a use to create a value. Maintenance, I'm changing the name of maintenance to capacity assurance. I've been maintenance guy from day one after I graduated. I worked in a large foundry as a maintenance engineer. I hated those designers who design or build those equipment. Had a lot of challenges. Well, to me, maintenance should be capacity assurance to ensure asset is performing designed capacity. Reliability, the standard definition to me really is a peace of mind. Things are working, they're supposed to be working. Maintainability, ease of maintenance is again design attributes. Reliability and maintainability are design attributes. We have to build reliability. Maintenance sustain the reliability. Availability is a function of reliability and maintainability. Uptime or availability, we can mathematically we can calculate uptime or uptime plus downtime or MTBF over MTBF plus MTTR. These definitions are from ISO 55000. There's asset, which is asset item, things, entity that potential or actual value to organization. Then asset portfolio, in the area, whatever assets are, those asset portfolio within the scope of the asset management. Asset management system, set of interrelated or interacting elements to establish asset management policy, asset management objective, etc. And asset management is to get more value from our asset. Okay, where we are. Asset equipments are getting complex. They're showing up high failure rates, low reliability. Assets are getting old. Now, old means two things. I mean, some of the old assets are much more robust. However, some of the components we cannot get them, or some of the control systems are obsolete. Another thing is happening is the aging workforce. We can get qualified people in operation and maintenance, especially due to COVID. We got a big challenge. We have global market, competitive pressure. It's easy to assess information. Like today, I have people coming from all over, cannot believe it, from far out in Europe and Africa and Canada, South America, everywhere. It's easy. People can share the knowledge. However, there's a challenge. Implementing best practices is not easy. It's a challenging. And we are going to talk some of those challenges. Everybody is trying to compete with one another. So because it's a open, very competitive environment, everyone want to be better, which is right. We could do that. There's no problem. But implementing best practice is a challenge. Our vision about asset management. Assets are available when we need it. Assets are reliable, safe to operate. Assets are maintained cost effectively. Assets are designed, acquired with a focus on reliability, maintainability, safety, sustainability, and operability. Maintenance needs are minimized or eliminated. People who are operating, maintaining, designing, procuring, supporting assets in any form are trained and aware of current meter reliability best practices. I believe in this motto. Live as you are to die tomorrow. Learn as you are to live forever. I'm finding out as I'm getting older, I don't know much. There's a lot to learn. Some expectation from asset performance. Assets deliver value when they perform on demand. And design capability or capacity, producing quality products or service, or optimum total cost ownership or TOTEX. Total cost ownership or TOTEX. Now, let's look in asset life cycle phases. In the past, what has happened many places, not every place, many places, asset is coming, is maybe stalled. And that time our focus gets on what happens after installation. Then we started thinking, how we going to operate, you know, and operate and maintain that asset. On the, I'm talking about right side after get asset get installed. Here's the area where we get value delivery. Assets going to start delivering us value by producing something, by delivering a value. That's what we are trying to do. That's there. That has been our focus. Now, let's think about what happens before. On the left side, before the installation, there we design, procure, build, and install the asset. Here, on the left side, many times, or I have seen a lot of places, we have been operating silos. On the left side, people are designing, some people are procuring, some people are building, and someone is going to install. And that's we have been working in silos, our own silos. We don't talk to each other. And I've seen that what happens is after we do that, it impacts on the right side when we start operating and building producing ourselves. So right side, we sustain reliability by doing proper maintenance. On the left side, we design and build reliability. Okay. Now, when we are talking about asset management, we are talking the whole thing from cradle to grave. For we start from concept, design, procure, build, operate, install, improve. All of that is asset management. Because if we do right things on the left side, we can reduce our problems, challenges here on the right side. Okay. If we do the things here better on the left side, we can do much better, reduce our cost. Yes, we're going to talk about if we do the right things on the left side, we maybe spend a little bit more money, no doubt, maybe 10, 15, 20% more, but we'll save a lot more on the right side during the whole asset life cycle. We are transitioning from maintenance to reliability, now from reliability to asset management. Now, what's the solution for all this? Implement best practices, including the rights of asset management. I'm going to talk about that. Is it easy? No. Improvements are change, and change are difficult to implement. Unless until you have people understand why this change is coming, why this, how that change is going to help them to do their job with less issues, less problem, and it's kind of a understanding, better how this change is going to help them. Vipma, what's for me there? It's having a right culture. So if you have a culture, you have to build the right culture to implement best practices, any practice. You have to do some change management thing. People understand how this change is going to help them. As I said, generally best practice are improvements. They improve productivity and reduces cost. Improvements are change. Change is difficult to implement, can be done. We have to make education awareness of change. We have to create WIFM, what's in for me, a culture of excellence, reliability culture. And Sometimes creating culture takes time. It's not easy. Sometimes it takes, depending upon your organization, how you are, your environment, it may take you 2 years, 5 years, even 10 years. I've worked in a large companies, large places. Yeah, it may take you 10 years. If there's some rigid culture, it takes 10 years. Always I hear when go, oh, we are unique. Yes, you are unique, what you produce, but your assets are not unique. The application of what you're doing may be unique. And that's a big thing. Making change from that shift, you have to change the culture and it takes time. Think about how do we manage our asset? Do we have a process which manages asset based on life cycle cost? Is that process effective, robust? In our today or in the past, this is asset life cycle goes through asset need or service, and then we do planning, concept, design, development, fabrication, installation. We call acquisition phase, and then operation and maintenance utilization phase, and then we dispose or renew when need is over. However, there's some issue with this, and friend of mine, good friend, Terence O'Hanlon, CEO of Reliability Web, and myself, we wrote this book, 10 Rights of Asset Management, based on our experience over the years. Here we said, hey, yes, there's a ground zero, which is a need. I didn't, yeah, but that's part of the need established, and then you specify requirement, design, source, procure, build, fabricate, installation, commissioning. That's what happened. I showed you earlier the left side of the line. After asset is ready to operate, then we operate it right, properly, with the proper training, maintaining, improving, disposing when need is over. The managing is managing all these 9 things, zero, uh, all the way. And managing means having the right people, right technology, right process. That's what managing is like. And we going to go through some of these quickly. So let's look into 10 rights of asset management. The first one is is specified. Specifications are key part. After we have decided we're going to do something, and we have, whatever this is, what kind of asset or process or whatever you're going to have, we have to write a specification, because specifications are key, comes from requirements, how, what we're going to buy, or how should we work, all kind of, and most of engineers we don't like to write those things up. And then when asset comes, we are in trouble. I didn't know. I didn't ask for this. I wanted this. I wanted that. So that description of characteristics of asset, commodity, service required is kind of a specification. So we have to do a good job in writing specification, what we need, so people can design it or build it from there. This again, in our book you can read all lot of materials given. In fact, every chapter in this you can see there are a checklist to ensure the person who is writing specification, they have done their they have done all the right thing. Then once this specification written, somebody's going to design. Now think about this, how are you going to take this motor out? Think about this, the builder who built it or designed, the person who designed it, these are 3000 psi pressure the hoses. If something breaks, it's so difficult. They're so in this tight space. I don't know how the hell they put it there. But this is one of the equipment I've seen. In this, I'm trying to show you here this is a water line, 8-inch water line going to a compressor, large motor. I think it was 60,000 horsepower motor compressor system. And this is a water line, and this is a strainer, one dual basket strainer. One side clogged up, they move over to the other side, and then they clean theirs. Guys, this is 10 feet high. Designer was not thinking that they have to clean this strainer maybe once or twice, 2 or 3 times in a shift when water gets dirty or something. These guys have to put a scaffolding for a few years before they have to rearrange this. They rearrange on this side. That's what they did. They're checking few other things. Yes, it would have cost a little bit more initially when they designed it, but designer was trying to do lowest cost bid. That's what they designed. That's what they were doing. Think about this old way, old design. Now things are changing. They are designing so easy to maintain. And that's kind of thing we have to think now. You educate your designer. Think about, hey, reliability, availability, maintainability, operability, all these features they have to think. This motor, not a big thing. What about the jack screw? If you have to align motors with something, with the prime, what you're driving, and you may have to move motor during alignment. And this is just for simplicity, showing heavy motors are difficult. You have to use crowbar. I know my people have used doing those, and it takes time and takes a lot of time. But providing this kind of jack screw is easy. Yes, it costs you $1,000 some more, but easy to make the adjustments. I like this quote. Design is not just what it looks like, feels like, design is how it works. I like Steve Jobs. He did it. I mean, you can see what Apple products are today. And he trained his people right, created a culture, right thing, doing right things. This chart I'm trying to show you here is on the left side is the acquisition phase. The red is what it cost. By the time asset is ready to operate, after it's got installed, ready to operate, we may spend about 20-25% of the total life cycle cost. Remaining 70-80% will be spending here for the rest of his life, which may be 20, 30, 40, 50 years. However, this side, right side, has been committed here. What I'm saying is when we are designing asset, we may be actually spending 20-25% of lifestyle cost, but we are making commitment what we're going to spend here in O&M phase, the rest of his life. Think about kind of a component we are selecting. Are we building redundancy or kind of component we are selecting? Are they the best value component which will last long, or we are buying a cheapie and which will make go quickly? Bad bearing, all those kind of things, depends upon that. So we are making a commitment what we're going to spend this side. Design asset to deliver required function, but also ensure asset is easy and optimized to operate safely, maintain easily, sustain energy efficient, environmentally compliant, reliable. Design focus should be all ramp square. What I'm saying is people have to design to make requirement, mostly production needs, how many tons of material, how many widget per hour or whatever. They do that. But many times due to some constraint, we forget about reliability, availability, maintainability, safety, sustainability, operability. You know, that's we have to think about that or there that we need to be ensuring, yes, it's going to cost. Again, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to change the culture of people who are doing that. Let's go to procurement. Now, are we buying where the whole asset, a component, whatever, for the lowest cost, or we are buying best value? What's the difference? Best value means it's going to give us a more value overall. It may be expensive, a little bit expensive. It's not one old seal or O-ring or bearing, maybe $1 or 5% or 10% or 20% more, but you will get more value, more life out of that. Your people don't have to change that quickly. That's what the best value is. So is it happen overnight? But again, it won't happen overnight because you have to change mindset of your procurement people. Can you believe your procurement purchasing agent being certified CMRP or CRL or one of those? They understand what reliability means. It's not easy, but it could be done. I've done it. So it could be done. Well, changing the culture of your all people, all stakeholders in this asset management journey. Next, let's go to build and fabricate right. People who are building our asset, they have to be knowledgeable. They need to be ensured because our most of our many of our early mortality, early failure when after asset get installed is this problem initially during the build up. It's not built by right people, have a defective parts, they don't use good practices. Those are kind of issues show up in early mortality, early failures. Some causes of early failure: inadequate design, use of inferior parts, poor shop practices, lack of standard practices, lack of quality control, poor work machine, and there's a lot of damage happen during transportation of asset or components. People don't realize. I've seen it. I've designed some of when I was working in a consumer product, transportation or transporting our product was is one of the key thing because we I've seen a lot of damage when trucks takes it in all bumps and all these things, and especially you have rotating equipment, it can damage. So all these things have to be thought about building it right. Install and commissioning, very important. This is the last step before asset get ready to operate. Think about space requirements, floor, foundations, leveling, alignment, installation, documentation, commissioning. You know, commissioning is going to be internal or external. And then once you find things, how you going to do that? Who's going to fix those problems? That's I've seen every places I go, they have different issue. But every time somebody do commissioning, there's a output comes out. These are the hit list means these are problems they found. Somebody needs to be responsible fixing those things before asset get operational because some people in company operation people want to run that asset as quickly as possible. Then poor maintenance guy has to fix all those things. So we have talked about those what happens before asset is ready to operate. Now let's talk about which many of us came from maintenance reliability background have been doing in maintenance, but we have other issue also operation. There are studies done, and I've seen it, that 40% or more of your problem is due to operational error, omission. Operator don't understand, don't know her, or they do buy because they are forced by to misuse the equipment to do something. So those are kind of things. So we have to work. Operation and maintenance go hand in hand. They have to work together. Okay. So they have to, as a team, we should be working. Now, there are several type of operation production role. We call it OBR, ODR, TPM, operator-based maintenance, operative reliability, auto-predictive maintenance, different terminology, but is a basically same thing, getting operator involved, taking the ownership of that asset. He or she is the person who is there, working all the time there. They know what's going on. If they can find and stop the machine or make a small quick adjustment, failure won't be there. But changing that, it used to be there 40, 50, 60 years ago. They used to take ownership. Last 20, 30, 40 years, things have changed somehow. we have to get back to that old operator taking the ownership. Think about your car or whatever you have. When you drive something yourself, you see something wrong, you try to get it fixed. Same thing on a machine. Why can't get it fixed? They keep running and then it breaks. Operation maintenance to work together. Virtually every major manual philosophy, methodology recognize foster integral relation between these two. You're just in time. All this philosophy cannot work if your equipment are not working right. Next, maintain it right. Are we doing the right maintenance? Have we done criticality analysis, planning and scheduling, spare parts kitting, success principle, optimized PM based RC? Again, these all I've been talking all are the best practices. You may be doing one of those or many of those, great. But these are what I'm talking. Every slide has a best practice, what I've talked so far. This is understanding failure. So we need to understand how this asset happens, failure, and our PM interval should be less than PF interval. We need to find a problem as, as it becomes potential failure at P level and visit that asset, find the problem, fix it before it goes to functional failure. We don't let it go to FB, broken equipment. Some of the maintenance approaches, CBM, condition-based maintenance, preventive maintenance, proactive maintenance, corrective maintenance, run to failure, all these are types of maintenance. Then we have a condition-based type technology, vibration, oil, infrared, all these things, technology helps to do the maintenance, find the problem quickly. And of course, if we have to find the problem, we'll fix it. If we just know there's a problem, don't fix it, boy, we have done nothing. Then we have PM process, which could be a calendar-based asset runtime, asset cycle time. We have a checklist, and you know how to do those checklists to make sure everything we are doing properly and we don't miss anything. That's a PM process. And then we are talking effective work management, which is a planning and scheduling, defining, clarifying right work, developing the work sequences, identifying necessary tools, ensuring on schedule availability of parts, scheduling work to be done with agreement with production and schedule time. And these are just a high level effective work management task. Then we have RCM. Again, I can go whole 2 days on RCM process. So this is a kind of highlight of RCM process. And we have a 9-step process and people who are involved, what are kind of projects we get out of RCM process. There are different kind of RCM, experience based, abbreviated or classical, which take a lot more time. So these are all good practices, best practices to get. Now, let me ask you this, guys, or you may know that when is the best time to do RCM? I didn't give you the question. Options. Best time to do RCM is during design phase. During the design, that time we should be doing RCM. Of course, later on when it's get installed, that time we have to redo, make sure we do that. Some of you guys giving just glancing through chat box. Some of you got get the answer right. Good. Improve it right. Now, we live in a very competitive world. And we need to be making improvements. In fact, if you have standards, you are every standards, ISO 9000, 14,000, now 55,000 ISO manual standard, every one of those standards requires a continuous improvement. And then we have to think what analysis tools we have available in our toolbox and where we should be applying those. Continuous improvement is a must today's environment. Do you know which asset gave you the problem? Last month, last quarter, how much assets are costing you, what reliability level you have on this asset or that asset, what reliability you are looking for in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. Are your PMs what you're doing effective? Do you have configuration data? Do all what are generated by CMMS? All these are kind of things. Do you know the answers? But we should. We should. Then we have a big list of all these problem solving tools. We should be aware what tools we need to be doing, what time, what kind of application. You know, Pareto, one of the best tool is a Pareto, which help us to optimize where we should be putting our resources. Cause and effect analysis on this one. So these are kind of tools available to us. We have to see what are good application of these tools, which, which tools we should be using when. Disposing, decommissioning. After asset need is over, what are we going to do? Are we just living there? Or we need to really do take care of the disposal properly. Nowadays, disposal is really very, very important. We just cannot throw them out. We have to make sure there's nothing in those assets. We cannot throw our iPhone or our phone just like that. It has a lot of information. Same thing, our equipment, a lot of data, hazardous material. We have to make sure we are disposing it properly. Okay. Or we are going to sell it, or somebody else is going to buy. We have to make sure it's clean, and then he can who's about, or he can upgrade those and reuse it or something. So dispose what we don't need, no clutter. Second principle, dispose it right, properly considering environment, safety, security of data. Manage it right. We need to have right people, right process, right technology. Do we have right people to operate, maintain, to improve our asset? We need to understand or ensure that every level understand their role, what they're what they're doing. This is part of creating the right culture. The person who is lubricating, or person who is planning, the person who is operating or maintaining or supervising, everyone needs to understand what their role is and how that whatever they are doing is helping to improve asset availability. Asset availability means it's a lot more product out the door, profitability of the company, or the objective, meeting the objective of the company. All have some kind of a linkage. We have to ensure that. How do we ensure that our processes are robust, repeatable, deliver quality products or services, and we do the right thing and things right both? Do you have a quality management policy? Most of companies do. I'm sure you do. Environmental policy, many companies do. You may have it. Do you have an energy policy? Okay. Now, I've showed you that how important is asset. Do you have asset management policy? How are we going to manage our asset? What new asset are we going to buy? How are we going to buy those? Hardly 10% when I do the survey, 10% companies have an asset management policy. It's not shame. These are the asset related to asset management or maintenance reliability, and ISO 55000 is a really important standard. In fact, I've had privileged to be working with the standard last. I was involved 2010 when we started developing, and now we are going through upgrade of that asset management standard. In fact, tomorrow, Wednesday, we have a 8 hours of meeting on just on every week. I'm having a meeting on these. Our all over some of us are working from all over the world to try to make that standard better and better. This is a kind of a key element of asset management systems. We have organizational objective, policy, asset management objectives, planning, execution, asset, and all this, how it goes. Application standards are make process robust, streamlined, productive. I've seen it. I've implemented asset management process. I know it. Now we are in different. We have a fourth revolution going on. digitalization, factory of the future is here. We are talking smart plant, autonomous systems, Internet of Things, intelligent sensors. In fact, that increases a lot more uh, test on us, or pressure on us. We have to ensure that our people have knowledge of these new things are coming in our machines. How we're going to prepare our workforce for the future factory. Some of us, let me go through quickly. I got 10 minutes left or so. Now, this chart is where I'm trying to show you the orange line is today how we do the business. You know, planning strategy about spending about, by the time we're ready, 20-25% of the cost of life cycle cost we spend is ready to operate. The yellow line is by implementing best practices, asset management and rights, all those kind of things on total cost ownership is yellow line. Okay. So after we are done, as a by the end of its life, we may save 30, 40, 50% of the asset lifecycle cost. Yes, we may be spending a lot more initially. This chart is a left side of Ron Moore's chart. He has a, if you Google him, you will find a lot of his data. Left side is data coming from ADC from there, showing you, and this is a PM backlog as it went down, the downtime went down, as well as the injury rate went down. And this was not just 2 years, it was 10, 12 years of data. Do we have, don't we have enough resources to do a good job? We don't. We don't write good specification. Designing for Ramscar is a challenge. Lack of operator ownership, lack of robust estimation process, availability of good quality data. We, again, I say, we maintenance people don't get involved with asset development phase. And we have lack of skilled workforce. And again, we have a career reliability culture. That's a challenge. Challenge yourself. It's only path which leads to growth. We need to have a disciplined system approach to manage asset. Don't need to start big. Start small area where you can influence people. Buy more reliable component, best value. Eliminate or minimize need of maintenance during design. You know, think about I was doing another class, getting ready for my other class, and there was a chart I couldn't put it here. We United States, we put two rover in the Mars, and those rovers were designed to for a few days or go for 5 or 7 kilometers, if I remember. But they lasted many, many times more than what they were designed. Instead of 7 kilometers, they went 45 kilometers. Who was maintaining them? Nobody there. They were designed to do its own maintenance. Why can't we ask for eliminate maintenance need? That's what eliminate or minimize. Yes, it's going to cost a lot more, but depends upon, maybe sometimes it's okay. Spend a little bit more. Eliminate or minimize need of maintenance during our design. When I was last few years, my company I spent with capital project managers, designers. When I went there, when my company put me there with them, and I asked them, FMEA, what is that animal? We don't do that here. Those people in op maintenance, maybe reliability group, they do. We don't do that here. It took me 3-4 years to change their culture, to educate them, train them in doing FMEA at during design. So it takes time. Okay. So we need to have a right culture, use change management principles to buying from all stockholders. Organization exists to deliver value to customer, fulfill its mission. Assets play a key role in delivering values, producing product and providing services. Unreliable asset can deliver value. Make process robust, reliable, productive, and safe. Streamline uniformity across organization enterprise. Establish asset management process by implementing 10 rise of asset management best practices. By applying best practices, organization will have a business success by increasing productivity, less failures, safer operation, and lower cost of ownership. I think that's my 55 minutes. Now I'm open for a few minutes left here for the questions. If you have, I can answer. Oh, I see my people are, hey, Solomon, somebody's typing some question. Martin is typing. Let's see.
Awesome, Ramesh. I think you received one question here from Robbie. I can actually read it for you if you'd like.
Sure, sure.
He asked, when equipment is poorly designed and we inherit these machines, we often have to utilize less than ideal practices to do maintenance on them. How do we get buy-in to get good people to fix badly designed machines?
Well, it's a challenge. That's what I've talked. It's a challenge. We have to educate our people. Thing is, when asset comes new or old, we have to think before it's ready to operate, how we're going to operate, maintain it properly. Do our people have a right skill to do that? Do we have right spares available? So we have to think, spend some time before we just start operating it. That's not a good practice. Yes, I mean, you have to think about it and ensure your people have right tools, right education, right training to repair those assets. Okay, there is a Martin, great presentation. You said that implementation of changes has been the greatest challenge. How can this problem be overcome? Change, improvements are change. It's a challenge. It takes time. You have to start educating at every level. And and it's when in my company when initially when they used to see me, he's coming. Here comes up reliability. They really said he only thinks he knows his reliability. So you have to create, this was a compliment or is whatever you want to call it, but eventually they understood I want trying to help them, I really want to help them to improve. So hey, we have to change, but there should be something for them why this change is important, how this change is going to help them. If they understand, then do that. There was one, Nabel, will you kindly recommend a CMMS software for small factory? Small factory, that made it much easier for me. Hey, you can do upkeep or any others. Doesn't matter. Hey, it's not software, how to implement. Upkeep is good. It's very cost effective. Do that. That's on the cloud. As an operator, how to deal with asset manufacturer not accepting their design fault. Hey, that's a challenge. It's a procurement people, get them involved, get them procurement people to understand what your challenges are. How your involvement is important. Hey, that's a big challenge because they want to sell it to you the high cost without giving you much of the value. Okay, good question by Martin. Asset management is a new approach, managing asset to get maximize value. Why the adoption still low? Okay, this is again understanding by our finance people and the top management. They are looking for a quick return. They want, if I spend today $1, they want to see return tomorrow. And asset management and reliability, it takes time. They're going to get more value, but they need to spend a lot more money initially. Okay, so it's a education. I have to take my bosses, even general manager, to talk to the conferences, International Maintenance Conference, SMRP, those places, so they can talk, see what others are doing. And it's not easy. Again, when I talk my 3 days training, I give them some example how I did it, some of those things. Okay.
Awesome. I think we have one more question here. Which action can I take during design?
Great. Again, you need to make a list of how you are, maybe operator, maintainer perspective, when you review the design, show that it's easy to operate, easy to maintain safely. Yes, you need to look those drawings, talk to them, and it's a challenge. I mean, some of my friends, Nissan guys are here. Some of they have done it. They hired operator maintainer almost year in advance, and those were involved in design review and visiting factories where the plant their assets were being built. And it's a lot of expense, but they did it, and I think now they're reaping the value of that. Here is
Perfect.
my
Awesome.
great, great. Here's my friend Paulo Concepcion. He saw me the other day talking on Peru. Okay, guys. I think our time is up, and you can send me an email. If you have any question. I hope I gave you something to think. Again, 1 hour, whatever I could do, I have done. And thank you very much. And again, send me a question if you have, I can answer you later too. Okay. Have a
Yes.
good day.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you so much, Ramesh, for this awesome presentation for today's webinar. Like Ramesh said, if you have any questions that weren't answered today, feel free to message him. He's also in the maintenance community Slack group, so feel free to message him there as well. And be on the lookout for the recording and also an invitation into the Slack group if you're not already in it. But again, thank you for joining us, and thank you so much, Ramesh. We hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Thank you, children, helping me out.
Of course. I'll see you later.
See you later. It worked out today. Great. I'm happy. Everything good.
Yeah.